You folks American citizens?
I am, yes.
Where were you born, miss?
Mrs.
What?
Philadelphia.
The name is Vargas.
There's a lot of talk these days about securing the border between the U.S. and Mexico. That's the geographical setting of Orson Welles' Touch of Evil, a movie that's very skeptical about the very idea of fixing any kind of boundary. Political, moral, psychological, spiritual. It's very difficult to tell, symbolically or literally, what side anybody is on. A bomb is planted in a car in Mexico. It explodes in the United States just across the border. Two lawmen head up the case. On the American side, there's Captain Hank Quinlan, played by a corpulent Orson Welles.
Did they toss it in, or was it planted ahead of time?
On the Mexican side, there's narcotics officer Mike Vargas, played by Charlton Heston. And trust me, once you get past that makeup, it's a very persuasive performance. One of Heston's best.
What about Quinlan, Sergeant? What's he done? What about all those people he put in the death house? Save your tears for them.
Each of these men is attached to a woman. Vargas's wife, Susie, played by Janet Leigh, is an emblem of wholesomeness in a world of rottenness and corruption.
I'm free to leave?
Free? Nobody was holding you or keeping you, Mrs. Vargas.
Quinlan keeps occasional company with a local madam, played somewhat improbably but with great Teutonic glamour by Marlene Dietrich.
I heard the explosion.
Well, when this case is over, I must come around some night, sample some of your chili.
Better be careful. Maybe too hot for you.
All of the performances in this movie, including these four major ones, are fleshy and real. And that's a hallmark of Welles' distinction as a director.
And if Vargas gets hurt, what happens? My brother Vic is just as good as convicted.
He got his start in the theater, where he learned to use whatever actors he had in the service of his own vision. His virtuosity as a visual artist is on display in this movie as well. Welles uses extended takes and inventive camera movements to tie the action together. He shoots his actors from low angles and in claustrophobic group close-up. In exterior sequences, he captures chaotic motion with elegance and control, as in the movie's justly famous opening scene, a single 3.5-minute tracking shot. In spite of this amazing artistry, and in spite of Welles' explicit wishes spelled out in a 58-page memo to the studio, Universal took the movie away from him, recut it, reshot part of it, and released it as a B-movie at the bottom of a double bill. This travesty was partly rectified 40 years after the initial release of Touch of Evil, when the great film editor Walter Murch recut the film, trying to bring it into alignment with Welles' stated intentions. This new version enhanced the film's reputation and restored some of the power and subtlety that we associate with Orson Welles.
You've been reading the cards, haven't you?
I've been doing the accounts.
Come on, read my future for me.
You haven't got any.
Orson Welles was larger than life, and so were the characters he played. They could be tragic, heroic, even grotesque, but they were never simple. Like many of Shakespeare's characters, they were compounded of different, sometimes violently contradictory qualities. But you can't separate those qualities. You can't build a fence between good and evil. We all live on both sides of that border. We always have.
How many did you frame?
Nobody that wasn't guilty. Guilty.
Hank!
No, I ain't working for Vargas.
Vargas.
You better give me that gun.
Okay, here it is.
Give it to me.